Greetings. September 8th, 2011, and I'm following my instincts again. And those instincts tell me to turn on this laptop camera and get a video out to you folks. Nothing scripted as usual, just some thoughts that are rolling through my head that have to do with preparation. You know, when we talk about preparing, there's so much out there, so many when the shit hits the fan type videos that are out there. But what is it that we're talking about here? I mean, when we talk about the shit hitting the fan, what is the shit and what is the fan? I mean, I myself have posted videos, and they're up here now, that deal with that. And I'm not condemning the theory. I just want to look at it a little bit differently today. And maybe some of you, this is the first time that you've ever even explored this concept, but I feel a sense of urgency, as I'm sure a lot of us do. Maybe some of those who are on YouTube for the first time looking for solutions have stumbled into this video. And it's that same sense of urgency that's brought you here. So let me try and break it down a little bit in a better, more orderly fashion. The noise you hear in the background is my dog. He's going crazy there, as you can see. That's Charlie doing the ass scratch. Now he'll sniff the rug where he wiped his ass, and then he'll go crazy. It's like catnip for him. I don't know what. Yeah. Very hard to do a serious video with a 110-pound golden retriever going absolutely insane in the background. But yeah, that's funny. But anyways, you know, so many things going on in terms of natural disasters and hurricanes and earthquakes. And, you know, I'm in Virginia, and here we had an earthquake not that long ago, very unusual. Lots of things going on. I don't want to recap or rehash the same old theories of, you know, all the different possibilities that fall under the 2012 umbrella. But last night I got to thinking, because of some things that I'd seen on the internet and I'd watched and read. And I have this feeling that I want to emphasize that if you haven't taken steps to prepare yourself, you have got to make a commitment right here and right now for yourself and for your loved ones. You've got to make a commitment that you're going to do everything within your power to face up to the fact that something is on the horizon. And you are going to take steps to do what you can to mitigate the fear and the damage that can result from panic or lack of preparedness. Now, for those of you that already have bug out property, like such as mine, those of you that have taken steps to prepare, have your bug out bags, you have your plans, your emergency evacuation plans, you know when you'll leave, you know where you're going to go, and you know how to contact your loved ones and get messages to them. That's great. I don't want you to turn off the video because I want to reinforce some of what you already know. But my main target audience with this video are those people who, because it's not comfortable to prepare for something bad, have avoided it. Or because perhaps they don't believe in all the hype. And I would actually suggest to you that there really isn't that much hype when you think about it. If you remember the Y2K fear, that was hype. But there's been a very telling avoidance from the government and even the media to really deal with or touch upon what we all know to be the case, which is there are great changes taking place within our own earth, our weather patterns, and whether these are induced by God, if that's your belief, or whether they're these they're cyclical events that happen from time to time, polar shifts that are natural occurrences, whatever you believe. Um, Huge planets that are approaching, bringing extraterrestrial battle or death or salvation, whatever you believe. There are certain elements to whatever this thing is that, unless you're dead or in absolute denial, you cannot help but notice. The seemingly acceleration of time. How each year seems to approach faster than the year before, and much more different than just the standard I'm getting older so years go by faster. There's a palatable increase in a 24-hour day. I have my own theories on that, but in the end, it doesn't really matter. Why? Let's look at what we do know. We know that there's an increase in natural disasters, for lack of a better term. We know that thousands of people have died and are dying in floods and tsunamis and earthquakes and fires and droughts that cause the fires, and on and so forth. Multiple double-digit tornadoes in a single day. We know that the large governments of the world are busy doing things to prepare for something that they're not talking to their own people about. Get a pad and a paper right now, or reach over and grab a pen and jot down this and look this up. Google Russia builds shelters for its population. Google that and read about, if you haven't already, the thousands, I think it's upwards of 5 or more thousand bomb shelters, huge bomb shelters for their population that they're busy building right now. The United States alone is in the middle of ongoing and constant construction projects, and they're all huge underground facilities. The largest consumer, the largest purchaser of freeze-dried foods, emergency prep foods, MREs, is the United States. And yet the governments, the representatives of the governments, are not putting anything out. And if you imagine that the thing, whatever it is so catastrophic and so huge, put yourself in a leadership position. What would you put out to the people? Would you want the people to just live as normally as they could? Happy ignorance until the thing, whatever the thing is, arrives? I mean, if you can't give them solutions, you don't want to outline and describe the horrors that are coming. And I don't want to sit here and make a video that purports to tell you that it's the end of the world and that we're all going to die slow deaths. I'm going to say what I've said before. It absolutely is the end of the world. The end of the world is coming. It's coming today for somebody. Somebody, as I'm making this video, is getting hit by a car, and this is the end of the world for them. You see my point? The end of the world arrives thousands of times around the world to people, thousands of times a day. So what I'm talking about is not endings. I'm talking about surviving negative experiences. When you think about the potential for huge catastrophic changes, spirit, even shifts, universal shifts of consciousness, and what must precede something like that. No matter what the event is, the thing that we can assure ourselves of is human nature is going to is likely to result in absolute pandemonium and panic, which will lead to opportunists, violence. New Orleans, post-Katrina. Los Angeles, 1992. The Rodney King riots. Societies running amok without any way to control people. People reaching into their most vile depths of humanity and animalistic behavior, which is an insult to animals. I mean, the things that I saw in Los Angeles during the riots and the things I saw in New Orleans post-Katrina that people do to one another are things that I don't want you and your family to see if you haven't seen them already. So you know, instead of me pointing out the problem, what is it I'm asking? I'm asking for you to get a visualization of the worst case scenario. People running through the streets, hacking each other to death. Whatever it takes. When you visualize something like that, that's a great way to reduce panic when things happen. You've seen it before in your mind, subconsciously. It calms you. If you've never considered that type of scenario, the chances are you will either freeze and let whatever happens happen. You'll be at the mercy of whoever wants to come and hack you to death or whatever. Or you'll panic and you'll run in circles until you are put down by somebody or something. So spend some time, my suggestion, spend some time researching this stuff. You know, you're not going to find the answer on the internet in terms of what the specifics are. But think of the possibilities, think of the probabilities, use your head. Keep calm. Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. And prepare now. Don't be one of those people caught unawares. You know, some of the talk that the scientific community is leaked out is fears of expectations of humongous solar flares, humongous tsunamis of solar flares that will render all electronics on this planet dead. No water being pumped, nothing coming out of your sink. You know, you get the picture. What would you do in a situation like that? Well, the last place in the world you want to be is in the middle of the city. And if you're sitting in a flat in New York City right now in Upper Manhattan looking at this video and you're thinking, well, I'm screwed. You're not screwed because you have time right now to think about where you can go at the first sign of trouble, at the first warning. Maybe the government will issue a warning, who knows, whatever. But you don't wait till the last minute. You trust your instincts, you stay alert, you have situational awareness where you pay attention to the world, not just your immediate surroundings. You watch the news, you listen to see what's going on. And then you activate your plan. And if you don't have it, this is why I'm talking to you. Put it together. Get a hold of Uncle Rector out in Wisconsin who owns 10 or 15 acres and discuss, talk to your neighbor whose brother has 5 acres, one state over. Make a plan. Read the websites that talk about preparedness, about protection. Of course, somebody comes to the door right in the middle of this. Let me put this on pause. Back with you. All right, where was I before the doorbell rang? You don't start shopping for a fire extinguisher when there's smoke coming out of your kitchen. Now, I know that the subject of preparing for crazy disasters and strange world changes, and who knows, could be anything that we're going to face. I know that's not comfortable, and it's much easier to turn on the sitcom and let life go on as normal. But remember this, as sure as I'm sitting here talking to you now, and as sure as you're sitting there watching this on your computer, there's going to come a time in our lifetime, very probable, and sooner than later, I believe, where you're going to need to have a plan. Now, some of you, like me, prior military, prior law enforcement, I have always had a plan. Even when I don't, quote unquote, need one. It's situational awareness. It's something that you must teach yourself if you don't have it. Be aware of what's going on so that your decisions are made prior to the disaster. Prior to the guy coming into the IHOP and shooting everybody. You've already thought about it. You're a person who doesn't dwell on it in paranoia, but you've thought about it. You know enough to face the door or the entrance, to size up people that are coming, to check people out through the glass as they approach the restaurant, and notice that they're carrying a semi-automatic rifle. Some of us just do that naturally, and those of you that don't need to start thinking about it. Now, some folks that are watching this are anti-gun. They've never had a gun. They don't believe in them. I'm telling you, you need to reconsider that flaw as I see it. Look, I would love to live in a world without weapons, but that's not possible in my lifetime, and it's not going to be possible. Not in your lifetime either. So when you've seen what human beings can do to one another and what they do to one another when there's an absence of law enforcement, absence of controls, you'll understand. If you'd seen that like I have, you'd understand how important it is. So my suggestion is, no matter what you feel, get a hold of an NRA instructor. Learn how to shoot, and then purchase a weapon that you're comfortable with and that you're good with. Look, I'm not afraid to die. It's not death that I'm afraid of. It's the method and the things behind it. I don't want someone else, another human being, to decide that I'm not taking any more breaths. That's not ever going to happen. I'm not going to allow that. If God wants me dead, or if the mountain that my cabin's sitting on erupts into a volcanic hellfire, then so be it. But I'm not going to let some asshole, pardon my language, walk up the road and blow me or my family or my dog away. Never. So take steps, Understand survival. Understand first aid. Bear in mind that with the possibilities of the things that can take place, you are more than likely going to be, and I'll do a video later on in terms of what I think is coming, but suffice it to say that you should expect to be self-sufficient, you and your little team of family members, whoever that is, self-sufficient for 6 months, minimum 6 months. I would suggest longer than that, minimum year, but let's say 6 months. If everything that you had today was gone, and you found yourself standing in the clothes you're wearing in the middle of a cornfield, 2 states away from where you are, with your kids standing around and your wife wearing what they're wearing, and that's it, would you be able to survive for 6 months? Ask yourself that. You would if you had already planned out where to go, put some essentials there, understood water needs, requirements, understood that water is extremely important, understood sanitation. You can't just go shit everywhere you want to shit. There's got to be a method to it. You'd be fine if you'd read military handbooks or some of the information that's online, or looked at some of the videos online and knew how to dig latrines, how to stay sanitized, how to grow your own food. My God, there's an endless supply of information on this internet. So turn this video off and get your studying going. Start looking around. And people watching, please leave comments and recommendations about sites that have helped you out. Please, I ask you to leave some comments for those folks that are reading the comments. And I ask, if this is your first time here or you're not into this type of subject, that you read all the comments, because some of my listeners, some of my subscribers, they will leave great advice. I know that. We're all in this thing together, life. Let's plan on getting through the storm and then living comfortably as we can. And remember that this is a great time to be alive, because whatever's going to happen is something huge. And even if it's the end of the world, that's something to see, yeah? Take care.